Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Jiayanu, Pakhair Ragale, Ni Hao, Chuna Shumme, Washmale, Ohio Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen. Hi, hugs and hellos, and a very good Khush Ahmadid to everybody who's tuned into PT World and a watching world this morning alongside the one and the only Shazad Khan. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We hope and we pray that everybody back at their homes, they're fine, they're doing great, and they're ready to kickstart their week with us. Well, this morning and PTV World's team as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rise and shine, wake and bake, and probably do whatever you have been thinking about last night that, okay, this is probably something which will get me to the richest point of my life. But now there's this one concept. So I watched this amazing film, and Bruce Willis was in it. And the concept, I loved the concept. Quite a lot of times in our lives, what happens is that we think that, okay, if we are going to achieve this height in our life or wherever we want to be, so, we'll probably be on top of that plateau or whatever you think it might probably be. But have you ever seen a spider? A spider is always crawling upwards, always. Does it really want to reach somewhere higher, for example, a plateau or a peak top? No. I think spiders got this mindset of just going higher and higher and higher and higher. That is very basic and that is very normal, and it is a phenomena given to it by the nature as well. So in our life, why do we think that, okay, if I achieve this, that's what it is, my life is sorted? I think all we need to do is progress, 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 and all of this in a very positive direction. I think that was a beautiful message, but right now I think we need to move on towards taking a look at what's going on in the country. Top stories coming up. Flights operation for pilgrims under government Hajj scheme begins and will continue till 26th of next month. Do you remember us all in your prayers? Security forces cleared 2 strongholds of terrorists in Rajgal Valley in Khyber Agency as part of ongoing Khyber 4 operation. UN Security Council and OIC will hold their separate meetings today to discuss latest situation in Al-Quds Al-Sharif. England clinched 4th ICC Women's World Cup title after beating India by 9 runs in final at the Lords. Very unfortunate for the Indians, losing almost in every format. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so these were the top stories for this hour, and time now to move on towards the public service message. Let's see what do we have for you today. Okay, so the public service message we have picked up on today is a very interesting one, and that is that quite a lot of times we over here as Pakistanis, I mean, it's going to be very generic and very unfair with all those people who do not do it, because all of a sudden you get this guilt consciousness within your own self that we have never ever done it, and why is he saying it? So it's not, if you're doing it, that's great, but if you're not doing it, I think you should probably think about it. That in life, we think that individually we can probably achieve anything we want. But this is not how it is. I mean, quite a lot of times my father says that, son, in my early years, the development or the progress I've made in my life was because of the fact that I had business partners, and then eventually we separated our ventures. So this is what I want to tell you, that in life, everything might not be easy for an individual to do. And if you form a team, and if you join hands, and if you trust each other, and if you earn each other's loyalty, I think you're going to do enormously or amazingly good. This is what my public service message is today for all those people working within universities, may them be teachers, professors, bankers, anybody, people from all walks of life. If we join hands and we look after each other's differences, I think we'll make a great nation. So this is our public service message. And now leading on towards what we are discussing today. So the public service message is obviously in line with what we are discussing. So today we wanted to talk about team building and how team can be built to achieve the maximum. Or for example, they say so that we have efficient employees, or probably, the efficacy gets better. Now, quite a lot of people say that, team building needs to be done by the HR. Quite a lot of people say that team building needs to be done by one of those people who heads that particular department or an institution. Well, I think to all of these questions, we have got amazing guests over here in the studios who are going to give us the answers as well. So on my right-hand side, a very good-looking, amazing guy. And, well, he doesn't really like wearing suits as well. This is what he said. So we have got Mr. Salman Ansari. He's the CEO of Technology Consultants. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you very much for coming over. I hope that you're comfortable. Do you need a cup of tea?
I'd love it, but I think probably later.
All right, probably after the show.
Yes.
Thank you very much for saying that. Thank you very much for saving our lives. Okay. Yeah, and now moving on towards our second guest, who's none other than Mr. Kamar Shura, who's the corporate trainer. And very recently, he's been appointed the president of Islamabad Toastmasters Club. So congratulations. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. And how are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for coming over. And thank you very much that, whenever we want your services, you render your services by coming on the show. So, sir, I'll start my conversation with you, Mr. Salman. What is team building?
I think team building starts at home.
Okay.
If you're a father or with children, you are a leader at that point in a team. And how you conduct yourself in that team, how you communicate, whether you will achieve as a family, joint shared goals, or you'll have a lot of friction and so on. It starts there.
Okay.
And it goes all the way through your life with friends, when you're going out for a picnic, for instance, or something which people have to work together to go to some place.
Yeah.
Or you're working in an organization and you need to get to certain goals and achieve them. A part of team building is, team is together, everyone, achieves more, team, T-E-A-M. It's not really, the HR of an organization can do best by just structuring it, by sensitizing the team leaders, the team, as to what processes you follow, then you'll come to, some very good results.
Okay.
So that's where the whole thing starts.
So together, everyone achieves more. This is what the definition of team is. But let's see, Kamar, do you have a different definition? And then I'll share mine, which is very generic as well.
No, almost I've got a similar definition. There's an African proverb which sums it all up, which sums the team management, team building all up in one sentence. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
So I think this is the essence of the whole team building. Let's say, for example, as Sir said, that team building starts from your home.
Yeah.
You want to manage, you want to start, organize Mehndi event for your brother. Let's say, for example, you will be needing a team, a group of people. And you need to start organizing them, and you need to start delegating them tasks. But first, you need to start trusting them.
Exactly. No,
yes.
But no, I have a different thought process over here that says that at homes, what happens is that nobody is insecure of doing a job. Obviously you're surrounded by brothers and sisters and father and mother. They're not going to fire you from their home. You get lost. You're not coming back home. But in a working environment, team is a very different thing, and I think it gets hard for the people to gel in at times as well. So how do you think it's different from home to working environment?
Why I mentioned home is that is where your basic skills come from.
Yeah.
Your ability to cooperate, ability to listen to orders, which is your father, elder brother, and so on. There's a certain structure which is there. However, when you move into a work environment, you've got to be far more cognizant that your decisions and your interactions can have major impact elsewhere, depending on what your position is in the hierarchy. When you structure a team, the selection of a leader is important. The person who's going to lead the team. And then a team passes through various phases. You collect a few people. The CEO says, we're going to go and sell all our old cars or whatever. And this is a They've got millions of cars, whatever. Say, I'm going to put together a team which is going to come from finance and inventory management and technical and so on, or whatever. I'm going to put this team together, and okay, you, Mr. XYZ, are going to be the team lead.
Yeah.
Now, in this whole process, if this is followed in a conscious manner,
All right.
that you know it's going to be a team forming, and then it's going to go through various processes, you know there's going to be conflict. There will be invisible people, you know, want to muscle their way into decision making. There will be, you know, people who don't like each other.
Yeah.
There will be people who will walk out of the process.
Or probably there'll be people who'll fall in love with each other and get married and then settle somewhere else. So the team's long gone.
Depends on how long.
Relationship goals, hashtag. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing is you've got to learn the meaning of certain words.
Okay.
Some people think aggressive is the right word. The right word is assertive.
All right.
When you can assert yourself means you still respect the other person, you use the right words, and how well you can get a very disparate team which are at loggerheads with each other to work together. That is the leader.
Or probably sharing your concerns, I think, will be a better choice of words as well.
Yeah, you know, the leader is walking on a tightrope. He probably or she probably knows what the end result should be.
All right.
Starts with that.
I get it.
But you've got to get a consensus. But along the way, when you start talking to people and you can get them stimulated, get them out of their skin. I am no longer a finance guy, I'm not an engineer. Let's look at solutions. Let's look at what is known as out of the box.
Exactly.
And once they start talking and engaging with each other, your role is not to butt in. Your role is to get them to communicate.
Thank you very much for saying that. I think for all those people who are out there and who are guilty of butting in, please do not do that. You know, this is not very helpful in a team. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short break, and when you guys are going to come back, we're going to carry on with our conversation. I've got quite a lot of interesting questions to ask today, and because we are stigmatized, we at times know that, you know, the things are not right. We cannot even go up to our boss or to whoever the team leader is and say that, you know, this is going on, and, you know, because within our own selves we're thinking that, you know, he or she might have said something to the boss. Let's take a break. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for staying tuned, and for everybody who just got tuned into PT while you watching World this morning alongside Shazad Khan. Today we are discussing about team building, and we have been joined by Mr. Salman Ansari and Kamar Shiraz. Earlier we were asking them that, what is team building, what does it literally mean? But now we have been joined by a very apt guest, and he's none other than Mr. Mohsin Lodi, who's the Executive Development Coach. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Thank you very much for coming over.
Pleasure.
And my part of the definition was left behind, so I think I'm going to share it with all those people who just got tuned into PT World, and that is that, a process, or I think I'll go with the process. So a process where a group of people work together to achieve certain different dimensions of an organization, or the vision or the mission of them, or probably, moving on towards where they were given these certain goals and they had to achieve them, is actually known as team building. What's your take on that?
Well,
very quickly.
Yeah, it's very true, because teams, they have a certain common goal.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a team and a group. Group works on the individual needs, while the team works on the common goal, basically.
Yeah.
That's the major difference.
All right, thank you very much for saying that. So you're agreeing with me. I think I'm delighted with that. So now, Kamar, moving on to you. Quite a lot of times now what happens, let's get to the grassroots level. So for example, if I'm an early startup, I'm starting my own business, and one of my friends says, I can give you 100,000 rupees, somebody says 500,000 rupees. So without even thinking whether they will be aligned with what goals I have in my head, because the idea generation took place within my own self, right? So even after taking that money, I think I will have to oblige to whatever they will say. Don't you think that that's not going to form a team, or eventually it will, or what will happen?
No, it is not going to form a team,
Okay.
because money does not matter.
Yeah.
What matters is the clarity of mind. If you are clear about your goals, if you can see the end,
Yeah.
if you can see where I will take the team towards to,
Yeah.
then your team will be successful. But there are like two mindsets that we are going to find in this South Asian region. I would not say Pakistan, but the whole South Asian. And that is the scarcity mindset. The other mindset is the abundance mindset.
All right.
Now, the scarcity mindset says that there is not enough for everybody.
Okay.
The abundance mindset says that there is enough for everyone.
Yeah.
So, if you want to take a team towards a certain goal, then you need to have this abundance mentality, that there is enough for everyone.
What do we mean enough?
Enough.
What enough?
Enough like resources.
Okay.
Resources. Everything will come together, and everything will, just button, so that we all could move towards one specific goal. And then again, before the break, we were talking about this, getting in, giving space to the team, seeing through them, seeing their capabilities, and trusting with them that yes, they can do this task. And the team leader should not be micromanaging stuff, because a micromanaging is the number one reason why the team fails.
Yeah, exactly. You've said it very rightly. And I mean, for example, for all those team leaders who are out there, and I was very lucky to work with one of my bosses. It was a very amazing guy. And this is what I learned from him, that, if, for example, he'd form a team and one of our team leaders is actually going behind the, that delivery guy, his bike's not working. I think this is not what he was supposed to do, actually. Yes. He was supposed to find another guy with a bike and send him on to that as well. But other than that, so now this was about starting your own business. For example, corporations, organizations, or government institutions. Do they even think before hiring that, what's going to happen next when we're going to form teams? Or do you think it is necessary to think before hiring?
If you take major multinationals or established companies,
Yeah.
their HR is quite adept at weeding people out. They make them go through some sort of intelligence tests and tests related to their work and so on. And in the interviews, they can suss out, they can actually find if this person is going to be a cooperative person, is he going to be fit into the system of our company, and so on and so forth. So they try and bias their choice towards getting a person who ultimately will be able to function in the team.
All right.
Now that's sometimes teamwork is not important at all. When you have some work which has to be done individually, and the person is intense and undisturbed, you don't have to worry about those things. Everything is taken care of. But generally in companies and organizations, you will need to bring lots of people together. But the trick in the whole thing is how well this whole thing is organized and set up. So the HR...
Or administered?
Yes, administered in the sense that if the HR has gone through the process of already determining that this person in the team can be a good leader, it need not be that he's higher or lower.
Yeah.
So people have got to cast away their bias that I'm a finance guy, I'm a high tech guy or whatever, and be able to groom people to take this role. And grooming means that you have the ability to express yourself, to be able to give credit to others, let people talk, and be able to manage conflict. This is all a part of team, which is a part of real life as well.
We'll definitely move on towards the team development skills, but there's one more thing which I think needs to be asked from the point of view, for example, if I am appearing in an interview. So what do I say? Mohsin Saab, I'll move on to you. What do I say if an interviewer asks me whether you're a team guy or not? What should be my answer?
Okay. As a matter of fact, when you make the team, there are certain stages. It is forming, then norming, and storming, and then norming and performing. And when you are hiring somebody, you know, it is normally what we do is we give them JDs.
What's that?
Which is job description.
Okay.
Now, job description doesn't go by it only highlights the qualification and past experience. We only look for that one, you know.
Yeah.
Now, you have to really look for the aptitude and attitude. How can you determine that one? That's very important.
Yeah.
Now, what Google does is, how Google recruit people, because Google is one of the top organization, they go and see their values. If their values align with their values, then they hire that person.
All right.
Otherwise, no. Because it's very important. Making only team is not enough. 90% of the teams, they fail because there is no team alignment with the organizational goals. Okay, so where does this misalignment happen? Because there are 5 different stages. There's a very good writer, Pat Lencioni. He has written book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And the very first one is distrust, lack of trust, because there is no transparency in between.
Yeah.
And when you are forming a team, you are not asking people that are you really interested in this job?
Yeah,
Can
they're
you
not
do
even
it?
given a choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Can you do it? Are you interested or can you do it? These are the 2 different things you have to look into. And when the stormists come in and they are looking for their own vested interest then, and this is where the major FUPA occurs basically. And we need to ask in the very first place about their interest, about their values. Are they really interested in it?
Yeah.
Can they do it? You know, it is to find out that their skills are consummate with the job required.
Okay.
So there's a new concept now. It's not only job description, it's not in Pakistan applicable at the moment. That is job to be done. That's a very new concept. Now, job to be done is begin with the end in mind. Okay, so that's a new concept. So I was just reading yesterday, Google came up with the new different phenomena for hiring people. They are looking for such thing as dependability, those kind of things. So I think if we just know exactly what their values are and their interest, and then here people they are taken up either by education or by their likingness.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. But there's one thing which I would love to say over here, and that is that obviously the show goes out in 46 different countries. But today I just want all of my guests to be more focused on Pakistan, and obviously Pakistanis do get a chance to go to Google, but certainly or unfortunately we do not have an office of Google over here. So let's give examples from within the land or within the South Asian region too as well. Now, I asked you whether, for example, if I'm going for an interview. Now, I haven't seen any of the organizations over here who actually go back and see whether the values are connected or not. So how do you think I, as an interviewee, needs to cheat when I appear for an interview? Good quick tips for the youngsters of Pakistan as well. For example, if I'm there for an interview, I'm not a teams guy, I've always been thrown out of the class, whatever, but my grades were good and I want a job badly. So how do I trick them?
As a matter of fact, if you are not cheating them, you are cheating yourself
All
in
right.
the first place.
Say.
You have to really find out, whether your mission and purpose align with their mission and purpose. Because if there is your purpose is not aligning with their purpose, there's no point of doing that job basically.
All right.
you'll be just physically there, but not mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
And you will get bored.
But my purpose is to get like 50,000 rupees a month, and it's getting fulfilled.
It will not work in the long term.
All right.
And this is a wrong approach. This is where we err, basically. I always say go and follow your heart and follow your purpose, what you really want to do. Because if you say, okay, you know, I'm going to go and cheat people, you will just cheat for once. It will work only for 2 months, 3 months, not long term.
All right.
So I think my suggestion would be follow your passion.
All right.
That's more important.
And this is a very beautiful message for all those young people out there and who are Pakistanis too, because half of the time we do see that within organizations, people are just working to get that handsome amount of money, go back home, fulfill their responsibilities, and start doing it all over again. So it's like eat, sleep, rave again. Yeah, what about you, Kamar? What's your take on this?
Well, Shahzad, I would say that misalignment happens because a company has got three main elements.
Right.
Number one is vision, number two is mission, and then number three, which is core values. Usually a company has got 4 core values, and your vision, mission, and the core values should be aligned with that of the company.
Okay.
Because if that is not aligned, you are obviously going to get the job in the company, but eventually you're not gonna gel in with the people.
Exactly.
Because every company has got their own culture, every company has got their own standardization, and you need to gel in with their culture and with their standardization. So it's like whether you want to go for it, and have you seen the vision, mission, and the core values of the company? If yes, then go for it. Otherwise, don't go for it.
So what if it's not in line with whatever our core values are?
Okay, before I do that, you made a very interesting comment that you're talking about Pakistan. Essentially, the principles are the same everywhere.
Okay.
But what my friend just said,
Yeah,
actually,
Mr. Mohsin.
Mohsin, what he just said, is the crux of what every individual country or their culture dictates. I worked with French, British, Americans, and Pakistanis. And everywhere, the core culture, the way they are brought up, if they're disciplined, if they are arrogant, if they are nice, or us in Pakistan, we are a very different, very difficult set of people to deal with. We're extremely complex.
You know, you're the very first guy in my entire life who's actually said what I always say, that, you know, we people are the most opposite people in the world. You know, wherever people are going, we're just going the opposite direction. We just do not want to go by the flow of the river.
But let me finish.
Yeah.
You see, we are individualists, all of us. So we have the HR or the organization has to recognize the Bradri system. He's from Punjab, he's from this village, and you know, all this stuff. That is one layer that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
The other layer is his layer of education. He has studied in Urdu medium school, English medium school. He's gone to, you know, some fantastic US school. That's another layer that comes in. His upbringing or her upbringing. How if those men have interacted with women before? If they haven't, they're going to be very difficult dealing with a boss who's a woman.
Exactly.
So while all that is complex, and that is why I think the HR departments in Pakistan have to be very, very smart.
Exactly.
Sometimes they're not, they're pretty stupid.
No, but all the time they're thinking that they are very smart.
Well, whatever it is. But I'll tell you one thing, the inherent thing in all this is, why do you think we keep on surviving? We are the most unpredictable lot.
Yeah.
I mean, going away from team building and so on, it's so unpredictable that we keep people guessing.
I think that's great.
As a nation. So if we can understand this and we can harness this, because this is a tremendous trait. We are very resilient.
Being a poker face.
No, we are very resilient. You knock us down, we stand up and, you know, start running again.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Ho gaya, Allah ki marzi. You know, we've got God as the best, you know, Allah ki marzi. Move on now. So those are things, if the HR departments in Pakistan do recognize that these elements are not negative, these can be harnessed. And especially when you get back to the subject of today, team building, if you recognize the structure of the team, will also have this.
All right.
The dynamics of the team, whether they're going to be passive, they're going to be dominant, they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be assertive, that is something that the people in the HR or the boss, whoever it is, head of the department, when they're picking out the team, they have to be cognizant of that.
All right.
Because moderating this team, running this team so that it runs on a proper alignment, not break out in fist fights and getting angry at each other, that is the role of the team lead.
All right.
And the team lead, they have to be trained.
Amazing. Moving on to Mohsin Saab over here. So Mohsin Saab, getting back to the basic rules of team building, what do you think a person needs to have in his or her mind while picking up people for his or her team?
Okay, he should look for 4 things basically.
Sure.
First of all, he has to set the goals. And the goals have to be very specific, measurable and time bound. Normally we don't set the specific goals, it's very generic. Even if we set the goals, then we are unable to communicate them well. Because more than 80% of the team members, you ask them what is expected of you, they go blank, okay, because they do not know about it. So this is number one. Then after setting the goals, you have to find out what are the responsibilities and job roles required to carry out this task basically.
Fine.
And then you design the processes, okay? And afterwards you allocate the resources, and it doesn't end there. Normally what people do is they just say, okay, there's a very vital component which is required in the whole team, or rather whole organization, that is called feedback system.
All right.
Because organizations and individuals and teams grow when there's a proper feedback. So those companies, those organizations who do not have the feedback system, they cannot thrive.
All right.
And this is the major dilemma, okay? Because most of the organizations you will find out, okay, there's different ways of evaluating people, because they evaluate them after 1 year, which is too long time basically, okay? So it has to be continuous basis. So we can talk about the feedback. So this is the first place. Now you are looking for, when you are making a team, it has to be complementary skills, not the same skills, because they have to complement each other. And then you say, okay, what are your skills? Skills is first thing, because your performance is what? Skill into will.
All right.
You must ask them, are you really willing to do this job? Because skill can be learned, will cannot be learned.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, but this practice, Moses, of which you're sharing, I'm sorry that I'm barging in. Over here, this is a very cutthroat mindset that, okay, just analyze them or get the feedback after 6 months or 3 months. That means eventually people are getting fired. So then I think that organizations actually need to develop a capacity of sharing the capacity building exercises with them too.
The feedback is not is meant for firing people.
Okay.
Feedback is for growth, basically.
All right.
Feedback, this is where we err. We don't know how to give the right feedback, as a matter of fact,
Very nice.
We simply criticize people, okay? That's a different, but when you are looking at this thing that, performance is skill into will, so you have to really ask them about their willingness. This is very, very important. We don't ask them. We simply say, okay, this is the job, you are going to do it. And they just go and they say, okay, yes. And later on we find out he was not interested in this one. So I think asking about their willingness is very vital.
And if they say, no, we're not willing to do this, probably, some other job will suit us.
That's a very good question. Then you coach them, ask them, why are you not interested? He may have some reservation about his skill abilities and about his other constraints. You can placate them and you can hone them. If it is related with the skills, you can ask them, slowly and gradually you are going to learn, and this is career making task. You will learn this. And most of the people, they are hesitant to take up because they lack abilities.
All right.
Okay? So you ask them, you coach them. This is what one of the major role of a leader is.
Exactly.
Leader coaches, okay? And they coach them, and they try to unleash their potential.
Very nice. Thank you very much for saying that. Moving on to Kamar over here. Now, Kamar, what are some basic team building exercises?
Oh, yes. Well, this is my expertise as well, I would say. Last year, we conducted a team building workshop for a very famous NGO.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in that NGO, there were a couple of groups, and there was a rivalry between those groups.
Yeah.
And
it's like studying in a university where you have an engineering department and a business department, and the
Yes.
students cannot actually sit together.
Yes, exactly. And the HR manager was concerned about the groups that people have created within the organization, and the task that they have given us was to just finish up this rift between different group of people.
Yeah.
So what we did at the day of the workshop, we made groups in such a way that all the groups were intermingled with each
got
other,
it. Exactly.
and no one knew who was in the group. And then we conducted various fun activities, outdoor activities, and it was like whole day session, and it was all practical, no theory, zero theory. And whole day they just did outdoor activities, and they had a lot of fun, and everything went smooth. And then after a month, we got a feedback from the same organization that the rift has been resolved.
No, that is
Yes,
great. So that means that when I asked you about the different exercises for team building, you
Yes.
said that what we need to do is probably hire an outsourced company to do that first of all.
Yes.
Yeah. So for all those organizations who are
Yes.
out there, if you're going to pick up a person from within the office
Yes.
and he's trying to do that, I don't think that
No,
that
no,
will work.
no,
And
it
then you
will
said that outdoor activities,
Yes.
probably by after mixing them with all of those people who were
Yes.
actually not willing to work together,
Yes.
and then giving them probably something like treasure hunt, and then gifting them with different things
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
So endless possibilities basically. So how do you think that we can move on towards a point where we see endless possibilities, because it does get difficult at times?
It does. I mean, if I just may continue what Kamal just said, conflict is basically what breaks everything apart.
Exactly.
We've got to teach, and I'm sure that is what you also do very often, is that you got to teach the people to play the ball and not the person, which means is you don't attack the person, you take the idea and then talk about the idea itself. That means depersonalize it, so that the ego is not tied with it, and then train the people to be able to get it, not own the idea. This is an idea which is thrown, everybody can contribute to it, and then come to some results.
Yeah.
So that's what my take on this is.
Okay, amazing that is. So about few more things which I need to ask, and those are that what goes wrong possibly. Conflict is one thing which actually breaks apart a team most of the time.
Okay, vested interest.
Okay.
This is quite predominant, and then when you are uncommunicative, there's no open communication environment among the team, and the communication style has to be open, direct, and honest.
All right.
And when there's a hush-hush communication, the manipulation occurs.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be very watchful about these kind of things. And then how can you know about it? Because people, when get stressed, they start staying away from their job, and this is another indicator that they are demotivated. And you need to ask them, why, what is making you so
Sir, मेरी
stressful?
सैलरी बढ़ा दे, आगे से तो यही जवाब आता है.
Exactly. Now, if you, this is commonplace, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody says, I have done one year job, and I now deserve the promotion or pay increase. It is your job to find out, whether they have delivered it or not. And if you have set in the very first place that they are expected to perform this one, ask them, have you delivered it on the scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10? Where do they fall in? Naturally, they will say we have delivered 12.
Yeah.
Then ask them this very specific. Where do they, fall in that
All
one?
right. Amazing.
That's the best way to go about it.
Amazing. Kamal, what about you?
Well, I would say that in most of the organizations, there is a lot of leg pulling, and when a new guy joins in the company, the people who are already established there, they like pull his legs, and and they underestimate him, and they don't let him gel in.
Yeah.
So that's the very first rule of team building, that you need to be selfless. If you are selfless, especially if the team leader is selfless and is thinking about the team people, then I guess the team will grow.
Amazing. Sir, Samasa.
That's true. But I think when you talk about a team, it depends on what is the duration of the team or the assignment. If this team has been put together for a week or 2 weeks for a specific task, then the dynamics are different. If it is for a much longer period, then I think a bit more thinking has to go into it. For example, there should be shared leadership roles, because role playing is a very, very important factor in it. Shared leadership roles is you do not focus on somebody and he starts thinking that he's the boss. This role playing has subtly got to change.
All right. So
along
the
the way.
spotlight needs to be on everyone.
Yes, and only then, you could say, okay, this has been our objective, and then go on ticking the check boxes and celebrate.
Exactly.
Go have a cup of tea or go out to chai khana and
So
a
exactly, I
breakfast.
think this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to celebrate because we have learned quite a lot today about team building, what to do, things not to do as well. The rest, I think the responsibility lies on your shoulders. What you need to do is you really need to see within your own self whether what strengths do you have, what weaknesses do you have, what opportunities surrounds you, and what are the threats. I mean, eventually when you do the SWOT analysis, you'll probably be at a better place. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being over here. It was lovely to have you. Right now, I think we need to move on towards the health benefits of cinnamon. All right, let's take a listen. So cinnamon, ladies and gentlemen, is helpful in lowering cholesterol. A half teaspoon of cinnamon per day can lower LDL cholesterol. It's a great source of magnesium, fiber, iron, and calcium. Beneficial for type 2 diabetes. It's a natural food preservative. It's anti-clotting. Smelling cinnamon boosts cognitive function and memory. Well, I hate smelling it because I don't like the smell. Honey and cinnamon combined have been found to relieve arthritis pain, and last but not the least, a natural remedy for eliminating headaches and migraine relief. And my producer likes a cinnamon roll and he wanted me to say this, so I said it. I do not like cinnamon, but ladies and gentlemen, we have shared all the benefits of cinnamon. So if you feel like having it, have it. If you do not, there are other choices as well, which Allah has blessed you with. But do not forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion and YouTube, it's World This Morning and World This Morning. And the fabulous repeat is going to be at 11 p.m. today. Look after yourselves. Stay blessed. Good morning. Thank you very much once again.